Motherfucker. Okay. Well, that sucks. Okay. Well, my. Ooh. Damn it. Damn it. This is just all. These fucking shows are cursed. Every single episode, there's something fucked up that happens. So my VPN was preventing me from starting. I'm like, what the fuck? Kept saying something about my fucking settings, and I'm like, okay, I got I logged in and out of the YouTube on OBS, and it just was still fucking up. And something told me, hey, maybe take the VPN off, cut it off, and see if that helps. So I hate to say that, but I mean that's what the fuck is happening. My internet's been having issues the past couple days anyway, so I don't know. Maybe restart the modem because I've been able to stream with my VPN before, so I don't know why that fucked it up. But it did, so I'm late, and that's don't really have an excuse outside of that. And not trying to make excuses. But that did take a way too fucking long to figure this shit out. So first off, let's make sure I'm even going. Let's check the platforms to see how we're doing. Put the mic down here. And yes, I'm actually visible. So that's cool. So Retro Richard's here. That's cool. I mean, the football doesn't get the biggest stuff. Oh, is it still saying Tekken 8 on the other? Okay, let's change the other platforms. We will not be getting any Tekken. Even though I'm thinking about streaming after. I am thinking about doing another stream, maybe in an hour or two after. So there's that. There is that. 'Cause yeah, I've been wanting to play Tekken. As I get better with Jack, I've wanted to play more Tekken. Funny how that works. And it's so cool to be able to see in this damn mask. I mean, it ain't perfect. Especially like trying to type. But it's so much better than it once was. Where I couldn't see anything and I couldn't run anything. And that's why I didn't wear it. I didn't wear it because like it's functionally useless. So that's not good. Oops, did I mean to do that? Oh my goodness. All right. So we're set up on all three platforms, even though we did have the guy come in last week. So that's cool. But otherwise, we're set up on all three. So, yeah, do two. Yeah, I would separate the streams. I'll probably take a couple hours break and then come back a little later, which I may do. And one thing I definitely want to do is make these streams a little bit more efficient. We try to talk about all 32 games, the 16 games from last week and the 16 games coming up this week. That'll obviously go off once the buys start to kick in. I think after week 5 or week 4 or 5. But still, it's just like, some of these games I don't care as much about as I'm giving it the time. And it just takes forever. So I don't want to do this stream for 2 or 3 hours every fucking time. I've been trying to do these during the day. Today it wasn't able to, but it is what it is. Didn't want to wait till tomorrow. Just like, let's get this out of the way. So first off, let's see how I did with the predictions. And then we'll get into some of the teams that I wanted to talk about in particular. Where's OBS? There we go. There we go. So this is for week 2 or week 3's predictions. Let's go back to week 2 and let me bring up the PNGs for my picks because this is the getaway we're doing it. So I already did this before the stream. Let's put this up first. So this is my the PNGs what I thought would happen. This is what actually happened. So you see the first 8 games, I got correct. I'm actually went 11-5 again. So I picked Green Bay correctly. Didn't get the score because that was a little bit more of a blowout. Well, I wasn't totally off, Baltimore, I picked 41-17 instead of 31-10. So I did pick a blowout, but not quite the score. Bengals, that was a much closer game than I had it. And they lost their quarterback practically for the year. Oh, wait, I'm not on screen. What the fuck is the point of being on screen if you're not going to be on screen? There I am. What are you doing here? You go away. You go away. Okay, you too. So, and actually, let me move me out of there. Let me move me to this coveted piece of real estate. All right, so yeah, if you look at what I picked, pretty good the first half. So picking A was pretty much spot on, but B not so much. Oops, I got the Steelers wrong. I did get the Rams right. I got Arizona, and I got my Colts right. I was wrong about Kansas City. They're 0-2 now. I was wrong about Atlanta. Minnesota is 1-1 now. So I got so hyped up from that JJ game, and he's back to being mid, and he's hurt for the next couple weeks. So there's that. Tampa Bay, I'm like locked to pick Houston and Detroit every time. And so, Tampa Bay in a heartbreaking game, and I might start off talking about that. Heartbreaking game for Houston. And then I did pick correctly the Chargers over the Raiders. So 11-5, for entertainment purposes only. I would not suggest gambling. I do not pick against the spread. I come up with scores, but I do not pick against the spread. I just pick win or loss. I'm doing decent with win or loss, but I'm not getting the teams I want to win, which I can't control that. So my Super Bowl picks, which I'm not gonna go off of them until they're mathematically eliminated from the playoffs, which we got plenty of weeks before that can even be a thing. Though there are other teams I'm picking as contenders along the way. So my Super Bowl picks went 1-1. Lions put belt to ass against the Bears. It was 52-21, and we'll get into the box scores as well. But my Houston Texans, and actually I'll go big head mode for this because gotta get back to reality. Back to life. Back to reality. So the Houston Texans, like I said, Super Bowl pick. I want them to do well. I really want them to do well. I still think there's a good team. It's only been the first 2 weeks. They played two really good teams. They lost to both of them. I will say if you're going to be a Super Bowl team, which a lot of people, I'm not the only one who picked them for the Super Bowl, but you got to at least split this, and they didn't. And that sucks. Who do you blame? There's plenty of blame to go around. Even though I would say this is the best part of this team is that defense. They deserve a share of blame. I thought this was a generational defense. And if they would have won the game yesterday because they had the chance to win it. There's a lot of talk about should they have ran more clock out, which I think they should have. You should have ran more clock out. But if that's a good defense, they get the ball back and they make the stops they need on that last drive. And you win the game. If that's not a good defense, they're a good defense. They're already a good defense. They're a very good defense. If that's a great defense, if that's an elite defenses can win even when their offense fails them. That's what elite defenses can do. This is not an elite defense. It's a very good defense. Might still be a top 5 defense, but it's not that generational elite. It's not that. I thought it might be. They give up too much for the run, for my liking. I mean, last week wasn't as bad, still 70-some-odd yards. Yet yesterday was 169, 160-some-odd yards. We'll get into the box scores to get specifics. I may start off with that game and then go back. It's not good. It's not the defense that we thought it would be. It's still good. It's still close. But it's not that we can win the game when the offense fails us. And then we got to get to the offense, man. We got to wonder if you're a Texans fan, which I'm a transplant fan, but still a fan. Is Caserio the guy as far as GM? He did not address that offensive line. Is Demeek, as they call him, because there's no O in his game. He's a head coach. Is he just a defensive coordinator? Playing head coach. And is C.J. Stroud really that guy at quarterback? It was so much hype after his rookie year. And while he did win another playoff game, or he won a playoff game in the second year, took a team to 10-7 and winning the division that second year. So a lot of people say sophomore slump. It was still a pretty good second year. He's had a pretty good 2 years. What is he doing? So I will say this. As somebody who is, Colts fan, because I saw that Danny Dimes, I saw his situation. someone who, even though I as much as I want to make fun of Caleb, I'm looking at his situation. We do get to these situations where we just blame the quarterback for everything. And then when they go into another situation, which is a lot better, we get all shocked that they can play well. That's how Baker got to be. You know what I mean? There's a lot of quarterbacks in the league that are current starters that were written off at one point. And I think we write quarterbacks off way too early and don't assess their situations that they're in. So that's one thing. But in saying that, CJ does have to play better. I know the offensive line is trash, and that's why I got to get on both Caserio and D'Amico Ryans. Though, okay, I have multiple thoughts, right? I've said many a time that the offensive line situation in general is, hard to solve. Because at the end of the day, it's harder to play. Offensive line might be the hardest position to play in the NFL, maybe in the sports, because of how good the defensive lines and the rush and the edges and all these different blitzes and stunts. I don't think the average offensive line is even that good. So in saying that, as bad as I think Caserio has done at addressing the offensive line, I also know that it's not an easy thing to address. I talked about both the Vikings and the Bears, near and dear to my heart as NFC North rivals, because my other team is obviously the Lions. And they were supposed to be rebuilt offensive lines. They put in the effort to rebuild those offensive lines. They don't look that much better. And ours has gotten a little worse, talking about Detroit, because of Frank Ragnall's retirement. It's not easy to put together a good offensive line. That's why Philadelphia is probably still the best team in football, because they have a good offensive line and they've been able to keep it together. It's not easy. It is the hardest part to build. It's the most essential part of keeping a good team together. I don't think Caserio has done a good job, but I don't think anyone has either. And looking at the league, unless, the few teams that have, the only way to do it is to draft them. Philly's done it. Detroit did it, and then Frank got hurt. And then, you got teams like the Colts that have a solid line. There's a few other teams that have solid lines. But it's just not easy to build an entire good offensive line. That said, this is one of the worst in the league. Travis Hunter girl will say the NFL. I don't think she will. sorry you're here, because you're not even a big NFL fan. I thought maybe Brandon Holland or somebody show up. We got the bots in the kick. Yeah, I am tired of streaming to zero, but, you guys are bots, so, it is what it is. And nobody on Twitch. There was a guy, Romeo, or something like that last week. But it is what it is. It is what it is. Still going to do the show. Still going to do the show because I fucking care about it. Do the shit I like. The fuck. In any event, Texas got to play better. The offensive line is not good. The play call is not good. That said, they only lost by 1 point to a really good team. They're not getting the ball to Nico Collins enough. They're trying, but, some of those throws got to be better, man. Some of those throws got to be better. There's been some bad throws by CJ. There's plenty of blame to go around for the whole team. I'm still not ducking off of them in the Super Bowl, because I honestly think they could be 3-2 before their bye. They get two divisional opponents that they should compete with, and they should beat both of them, Jacksonville and Tennessee. Even though poor Tennessee, poor Cam Ward, making tons of plays. I think Cam Ward has a lot of talent. But they should beat both of those teams. They could split it. The way they're playing, right? They could split it, and that's not what you're looking for. Be a 1-3 by the time they get to that Baltimore game, which is going to be a big game for them. Detroit has to go against Baltimore this coming week. It's going to be a big game. I'm hoping we can put some pain on Baltimore, because Baltimore is not a perfect team. That defense leaves a lot to be desired. They don't have that good of a defense, honestly. They have a pretty good offensive line, actually, going back to that. But they don't have that good of a defense, Baltimore. So they're not as vaunted as they have been in maybe some years past. So their offense is probably top tier. We put 40 points up in both of the first couple games. The offense is very much top tier. But yeah, I'm not so high on this. I'm not giving up. They just got to get it together. And I think part of this, going back to what I said last week about the preseason, these teams not playing in the fucking preseason, man. it'll be the death of me. I think more teams will play more in the preseason because you just can't afford to lose those reps. So let's go ahead and start off these box scores. I'm not gonna go through every single game's box score. That's one thing I won't do because if it's a meaningless game to me, but I will go through this one since I'm talking about it. Baker Mayfield played pretty well. 215 yards, 25 for 38, no interceptions, 2 touchdowns, 4 sacks for 24 yards. QBR and rating right here, 60. I don't know if you value that. I really don't because it's just a math equation. Because, C.J. Stroud technically played as well. And that's another thing. As bad as I said some of those throws C.J. made, he still got 200 yards and a touchdown. You look at statistically, it's not a terrible game. His rating is only 1 point less than Baker. Now the QBR is a lot less. I don't understand how that shit works. QBR is his own made up statistic. All these a lot of these statistics are made up. Whatever. Nick Chubb, 12 for 43, 3.6 yard average and a touchdown. C.J. Stroud did the best rushing, at least his average wise, 4 for 27. And then Woody Marks did get a few carries. That's one issue I have with Nick Caley was the offensive coordinator. A lot of these rookies like Woody Marks, like Jaden Higgins, like Jalen Noel. You're just not getting them in the game enough to even see how good they can be. Nico Collins, 3 for 52. Woody Marks, he did have a 37-yard reception that he put, and that was it. They didn't give him another chance. A lot of targets for Nico. Some of them not catchable. Dalton Schultz, 3 for 29. Jalen Higgins did get 1 for 28. This offense doesn't even have an identity. This is where I think Joe Mixon not being here is a killer. And speaking of a killer, this rushing duo of Bucky Irving and Rachaad White, 17 for 71 for Bucky, 10 for 65 for Rachaad. That's 27 carries. And then with Baker's 3 for 33, that's 169 on the ground plus a touchdown. 130 just between the running backs themselves. That's a lot. You're supposed to be this elite defense. You can't be giving up that much rushing. And I know the quarterback stuff is tough, but 3 for 33 is still huge. They're receiving, obviously, Mike Evans reliable, 5 for 56. Bucky got in on the act, 6 for 50. Mecca Ibuka, 4 for 29. The defense, the defense is still solid. It's still an above-average defense. They, held 2 really good offenses to 20 points or less. But they're just not that elite, super perfect. They're a Super Bowl capable defense, but they're not. I thought this defense would be something like the Bears or the Ravens in the 2000s or the Pittsburgh Steelers in the 2000s, where they could win games on their own, where the offense just had to show up, and they could win games like that. They're not quite there. I thought, oh, man, they're going to be the number 1 defense in the league with a top 16 to 15 offense. With a mid enough offense where and they're not even mid, but neither is true. They're a very good defense. They're a top 6 to 5 defense with a bottom 5 offense with a top number 25, number 26 type offense. And we can look up see where they are now. Actually, if I can, let's see how to navigate it and actually do it. Maybe NFL. Maybe we go stats. Is there team stats? Yeah, team statistics. That's the team right here. So, in defense allowed, they're not top 5. So they are a top. Okay, this will do it. In yards per game allowed, they are somewhere in here. Kind of mid. How about points? Is points a thing? What about points? They are, okay, they're at least top 10 points. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So it's 7th in points allowed. So that's pretty good. Not number one, like I thought they might be, but they're number 7 team in allowing points. They're somewhere back there as far as allowing yards, though. They're down here somewhere. And we go to offense. Whoo! In points. Points per game. Obviously, the Ravens are up there. They're the last team in points per game. And in yards per game, they are 5th from the bottom. So that's not what I expected. Needless to say, not what I expected, and I don't think that's what a lot of people expected out of the Texans. A top 10 defense and the worst offense in the league. Like, no one expected that. We were expecting a top 5 defense with a least middle of the pack offense. So that's not what we're getting, and that's why they're not looking. My Super Bowl prediction looks terrible. Chargers Raiders win as expected. I got the Raiders got the first game against the Patriots. They're kind of a mid team. If there is anything interesting about this box score, it's Ashton Genty. Oh, geez, what the hell's going on ESPN? Okay, ESPN doesn't have any stats for this game. That's great. Ashton Genty's not looking too great. Does this think the game is still going on? It was a day ago, brother. All right, man. Whatever. So ESPN doesn't care about this game. Falcons, Vikings. Falcons getting back on track. Vikings looking below mid. Motherfucking JJ let me talk about JJ McCarthy getting injured. Justin Jefferson did have 3 for 81 yards. 2 picks also from JJ McCarthy. Not great. And the Falcons have a lot. I'll check in a little bit on the box score. Michael Penix, don't mess up that name. 135 yards, not much, but Bijan Robinson, 22 carries, 143 yards, 6.5 yards a carry. Tyler Algier also got in the act, 16 carries of his own, 76 yards and a touchdown, 218 rushing yards. That's a lot, 39 carries. So they just bullied this defense with the run, and Michael Penix didn't have to do much. If they could run like that, especially with both of those running backs, and everybody's doing the 2 running back thing, the fucking Lions have unleashed hell on the league because the running game is back. The gimmick is get 2 of them. And Minnesota's good at that. I mean, they got Jordan Mason and Aaron Jones. They just didn't get the run going. Only 9 carries for 30 yards. 5, Aaron Jones' average isn't that bad, 4.6. 5 for 23. JJ got on, helped his own cause, 5 for 25. But they just didn't run the ball enough. And then JJ threw 2 picks, and that's pretty much it. Couldn't stop the run, couldn't run the ball. Going back to the old school. Got to run the ball, got to stop the run. Got to run the ball, got to stop the run. I'll check to see if anyone's here because I'm just kind of talking. Oh, yeah, Fizz is here. Probably listening. Ain't got much to say about sports. Cotton dropped the light, can't stay. It is what it is. I know not everybody gets into the sports ball, but I do. So I'm going to still do it. I'm going to still do it. Fuck it. Like I said, I may do a game stream after this. I'm going to try to make this stream efficient, especially since they aren't the most popular streams of mine. But I still like the NFL, even though it's rigged, like everything in fucking life. All right, so we'll start from the top, and then we'll go through everything, go through the games for this week because we got the bottom 3. And then we'll go into the games next week. So Commanders and Packers, that was Monday. Packers are like the best team in the league so far through 2 games. Their defense looked pretty impressive, only giving up 51 rushing yards to Washington, which had quite a few in the first game. Only 18 points. They did give up a couple touchdowns to Jaden Daniels through the air, but they also sacked him 4 times. He didn't throw any picks, but still, they were had an average under 5 yards. Just had a kind of pedestrian day. Solid, we can talk about touchdowns, but not much else. Again, holding the rushing, including Jaden Daniels himself, all in the check. You do wonder if maybe they gave Ja'Cory Crosby-Merritt a few more carries. Could they have potentially fared better as the rushing? Only gave him 4 carries. He averaged 4.3. That's anything over 4 you like to think is pretty positive. Jordan Love had a hell of a game. He keeps making these throws that nobody else even tries. He only had 2 touchdowns, but still 292 yards. He got sacked a couple times, but a hell of a game for him. Josh Jacobs, they got their running game going. Trying not to sneeze. Hold on. Sinus. They got okay. They got their running game going. 23 carries, 84 yards. Not the best average. Then Savion Williams, who I believe is a receiver, a couple of carries for 24 yards. Matthew Gold. So they're doing a lot of receivers. A little trickery with the receivers getting some carries. And between everything, got 135 yards over 30 carries. Again, the carry in and of itself is pretty necessary. Hey, Forbidden Ruin. Somebody knows about sports in the chat. But getting carries is necessary, even if they're not the most productive, even though they had a pretty productive game. The Green Bay. Tucker Kraft was big for me with fantasy, even though I'm still, mid in fantasy. But he had a big game. He was on my fantasy team. Jonathan Taylor also had a big game, but I had him on the bench on one of my leagues, which I feel like a fucking moron. Denver has a good defense. And I got a couple teams with a bunch of running backs. One to the point where I have a problem. I have Chuba Hubbard, Saquon Barkley, Jonathan Taylor, and Bucky Irving. And I can only start 3 of them. So it's always going to be an odd man out. It fucks me up. I need to probably trade one of them. In any event, Green Bay's offense and defense both look pretty good. And Washington didn't look terrible, but just not quite as good as Green Bay. I think Green Bay currently is the best team going. If I had a power rankings, they would be number 1. Jaguars and Bengals. This is a fun game to watch after what's his name? Burrow got injured. Jay Browning, balled out. No, he didn't. He threw a bunch of picks. Jay Browning only was 1 for 1. He only threw 1 pick. Okay. No. I'm looking at the wrong thing. Here he is. Jake Browning, 12 for 32, 241 yards, 2 touchdowns, 3 picks. But it was just enough to get past the fucking Jaguars. What did your boy do? Travis Hunter, still looking like a rookie, 3 for 22 yards as far as his receptions. What did he do on defense? Because that's his gimmick. He got a couple tackles. He did get a pass deflection, so that's pretty productive for DB. If you get a pass deflection in a game, that's pretty impactful because you're not gonna get that every game. So yeah, I don't think much of Jacksonville though. I don't think they're that good of a team. I thought Bengals could have been a good team, but I was worried about their offensive line, and now that their quarterback is hurt, I don't think Jake Browning is gonna save them. So they're probably fucked. You're on mobile plus sports is paywall. That's true. Don't have cable. I don't have cable, but I'm finding a way. You know what? No, I hate to admit it. As much as I'm very consumer and fuck these corporations, I fucking cracked, man. I cracked on NFL Red Zone. They didn't play that many commercials. It's only $15 a month. I cracked. I know. I'm a fucking piece of shit. Speaking of pieces of shit, Giants and the Cowboys. No defense at all. Fucking, what's his name? Russell Wilson turned back the clock. If I can turn back time. 30 for 41, 450 yards, 3 touchdowns in the pick. He was just slinging that thing. Pause. Malik Neighbors got 9 for 167. Wan'Dale Robinson got 8 for 142, so almost 300 yards just between those 2 receivers as well. Malik with 2 touchdowns, Wan'Dale with 1. Cam Scatterbo finally, a lot of pretty hyped up rookie. He got a touchdown rushing. He didn't get much of the passing game, but he, 11. He was the leading rusher for the Giants. Still would like some more rushes. Russell Wilson helped his own effort, 3 for 23, but it was for naught. Dakota Ray Prescott, 361 yards, 2 touchdowns and a pick. But what really, again, the running game, Javonte Williams, 18 for 97, And just going to the overtime and getting the ball. That was a crazy overtime, actually. I mean, nobody really scored. It went from the fourth quarter where it's just like score after score after score. Look at this. Look at how this went. Just the scores. First quarter 6-0 Giants, then 7-10, then 3-7. And then the fourth quarter, 21 points for the Giants, 20 points for Dallas. So you have this crazy fourth quarter where the scoring goes up, and then nobody scores in the fucking overtime until Dallas kicks a fucking field goal. They kept getting stopped. It's like, I guess the offense got tired out, and the shitty defense was able to catch up in the fourth quarter, or in overtime after the fourth quarter. So yeah, crazy game. Crazy game. It was fun to watch though. Brandon Hobbs, go Cowboys. My answer is nothing. Not even the fee for the subscription. Fire stick, yeah, that's probably the right thing to do. I know, shaking my head. Yeah, I couldn't help, but that's how I was able to watch the game. I was able to see that live because I gave them $15. I know it's evil. I hate it too. And I wanted to stand with you guys and stand firm and stand tall and stand like, you know what I mean? Ooh. And let me, sheesh. Ooh, whoops. Wasn't trying to move that. Ooh, what the hell? I'm trying to move that either. Okay. There we go. I just want to be somewhere where I can be seen. The little logo, I realized the logo was in front of my face. But, yeah, fuck the Cowboys. I talked about Houston earlier. I was looking for you, man. What'd you think of that Monday night game? Really tough to watch. You can't say they're a terrible team because they should have really won it. But, man, they are a terrible team because that offense sucks. And the defense is good but not great. I mean, they're really good. They are the best part of the team, but they're not like this elite super defense. So, yeah. So, Giants Cowboys was crazy. Bears Lions was kind of crazy. We blew the Bears out. I got worried. I think Brian Branch got injured. I was worried. Like, listen, happy the Lions to get out of this funk and go 1-2 the first couple games. Happy to beat up on the Bears. Happy to embarrass the Bears and Ben Johnson because I don't think much of him as a head coach. But I'm also happy to stay healthy, man. And I know you can't get every starter out because it's not quite college, right? You don't have as many roster spots, but that's another issue I have in the NFL. I think you need way more roster spots than they allow. 53 is not enough for all the injuries that you have. But all that withstanding, we had the game won quite a bit ago. We didn't have to go for 52 and risk injury when we know the biggest issue we had last year was injury. And the Bears still scored 21 points. Now, obviously, one was a garbage time touchdown, but they still had 14 in the first half. So I am still a little bit worried about this defense as well. Rams, they're back on track against the Titans. I say that Cam Ward made a hell of a play. What was his stats? I'll check his stats real quick. Cam Ward made a hell of a play running from one side of his only touchdown, actually, too. He ran to one side, threw it the opposite side, scored a touchdown. It was incredible. Didn't have that good of a game statistically. I know they get a lot of drops. I'm rooting for Tennessee. Cam Ward looks like a good player. Hopefully they build around him properly. Matthew Stafford balled out, which he did in the first game against the Texans, so some credit there. He did throw a pick, 2 touchdowns, but 298 yards. Kyron Williams, 17 for 66. Kind of a midday, but Puka Nacua had a big play in the rushing game. Puka Nacua still having a big play, a lot of all-purpose yards. Devontae Adams finally got a lot. This is kind of their game, where they get to come alive. They won the first week, but their offense did not look great the first week. They look a lot better the second week. I'm not gonna download FanDuel. No, we're not gambling, man. That we're not doing. So almost out of this. We got Patriots and Dolphins. I didn't care much about this game. Patriots are 1-1. Somebody's got to be mid in that AFC East. So there you go with Patriots and Dolphins. I think Dolphins will be the first coach to get fired in Mike McDonald. This was interesting. Shout out to, what was the guy name? There was a guy who was in the stream last week. He kept saying, "Oh, pick the Saints because Brock Purdy was hurt." I said, "I'm not worried about them." I was right, but this was a close game, 21-26. Saints still have some of that talent of old left, not quite enough. Mac Jones started. Mac Jones almost looked like another quarterback. Like, oh man, what if he starts a few games and he starts to look impressive? We got another quarterback who on that third or fourth stop starts to look impressive because Brock Purdy's gonna be out for a few weeks. We'll see how he does. Spencer Rattler's not terrible. 3 touchdowns, 0 picks. So that, if there's some promise, maybe Spencer Rattler is a quarterback you should stick with long term. Alvin Kamara did have a solid game, 21 carries, 99 yards. Yeah, I'll take that. Chris Olave, the boys are back in town. 6 for 54. Rashid Shaheed, 4 for 52. He had a touchdown. Juwan Johnson had a touchdown. So solid offensive output against a pretty good defense in the 49ers. Only 21 points, but you should be pretty. New Orleans are a weird team. I don't think much of them, but they're playing pretty well, and that means something. And you got a young quarterback that's playing better. There's something to be. If you're a New Orleans fan, there's something to be salvaged about this season. Just seeing Spencer Rattler play decently. This is a tough defense in a week where they knew their defense had to step up, and you were still able to be productive against them. So there's something to take away even in a loss. I know nobody likes moral victories, but when you're a bad franchise, you got to take what the fuck you can get. So Bills and Jets was not a good fantasy. I got Justin Fields as my fantasy guy. He looked hurt. Yeah, Tyrod Taylor played some of this game. He got hurt and he's questionable, so I got to use a backup or something. Josh Allen didn't have to do much as far as passing. Only 148 yards, no touchdowns, no picks. James Cook, a guy that I missed on the draft fantasy-wise. I kept getting him in fucking mock drafts, but I let some of these talking heads talk me out of him. He's having a really good year. He's picking up where he left off last year. He just got the bag, and he's giving them their money's worth. 21 carries, 132 yards, 2 touchdowns, just incredible work. He might be one of the best running backs going right now. Josh Allen still helped his cause running. 6 carries, 59 yards. And then Ray Davis helping with 9-24. Got another touchdown from Elijah Moore. So, yeah. No big receiving numbers. Palmer got 47, Kincaid 37. On the Jets, Garrett Wilson still the number 1 receiver, 4 for 50. Justin Fields, the number 1 rusher despite being injured. And this is what happens when you have a running quarterback. Is you get decent production, 5 for 50 yards, 10 yards a carry basically. And but then you get somebody hurt. Breece Hall didn't have the same game he had last week. So, the Jets are a team I just kind of shout out to Matt. I think about him with that. Will the Texans steal our O-line coach? No, we got to keep our O-line coach. Texas got to do something with this O-line, though, man. I talked about him earlier. That was the first thing I talked about. They gotta improve. Gotta improve. So, how many games? I'm trying to see where we got these bottom 3. Okay. So Eagles and Chiefs are the last one we covered. We just did Bills and Jets. All right. Seahawks, Steelers is another team that I picked the Steelers to make the playoffs. Not looking playoffy this game. Aaron Rodgers, 1 touchdown, 2 picks. Not quite the game he had last week with 4 touchdowns. Mason Rudolph even got in the act. Not good to see. Jalen Warren did something rushing, but not much. This team's supposed to run the ball and stop the run, and they're doing a lot of neither. Between Zach Charbonnet and Kenneth Walker, 105 yards, only on 13 carries. I mean, this team is not stopping the run at all, and that's what the Steelers are supposed to do. They're supposed to run the ball, stop the run, and they're doing neither. And they're looking like a team that's going to be on the clock before we know it. I hope I'm wrong because I picked them to be a playoff team. Sam Darnold, again, going back to the quarterback misfits who find different homes elsewhere. 2 picks, yeah, but 2 touchdowns, 295 yards. His running game was strong. Jackson Smith and Jigba, still, his number one receiver. They were just able to be productive against this Pittsburgh defense. Yes, they got sacks. Yes, they got picks, but they're just not stopping production. They're not stopping production, which is what I expect from most defenses nowadays, honestly. Um, let's see. Like I said, I'm trying to not rush through this, but last week I just felt I was just did it to the point where this got boring. I don't want this to be boring. Browns and Ravens, 41-17 isn't that quite what you expect. I talked about Broncos and Colts. As happy as I am to see the Colts win, I picked the Colts to make the playoffs as a kind of a surprise. That was very janky at the end of the game. If you didn't see, the Colts line up to kick the game-winning field goal. They miss. The fucking mascot falls out. But then they call a penalty on this. There's a leverage penalty. You're not supposed to lift yourself up and basically lift yourself up to try to block a kick. And even though they didn't block the kick, they called leverage. I guess by the letter of the rule it was right, but it was a janky call. It gave the Colts another chance. They kick it on the second time they make it. And so they win the game. So that was a janky win if you're the Broncos. It was a close game against a good team. I don't think the Colts is, a Super Bowl contender, but they're a playoff contender. Daniel Jones still had another game, still hasn't thrown a pick, 316 yards and a touchdown. Jonathan Taylor went nuts on my bench. 25 for 165. Pissed me off I didn't start him. Bo Nix, not perfect, but he still got 3 touchdowns. Still throw a pick. Still only threw 200 yards. J.K. Dobbins, 14 for 76. They got to get R.J. Harvey, who's their rookie, involved as far as rushing goes. Still got 118 yards. Sorry about that. Out of the running equation, but could have probably used a few more carries. Had two solid teams having a good offense with solid offense and solid defenses. Had a solid-ass game. But that ending was pretty jank. I gotta say. You said the Colts of this year say I hope not, because I'm picking them to do better than that. But yeah, last year the Saints went 0-2. That's what Brandon Holland was talking about. Or they went 2-0 and then morphed back into the shitty team everyone thought they were. But the reason I think this team is different is because there are pieces around them, like a Jonathan Taylor, like some of those receivers, like Tyler Warren, who's the rookie, and there's a little bit more pieces around Daniel Jones to actually succeed. So I don't know. You might be right though. Let me get some fucking water. Jeez, got a headache. You might be right. A lot of people are picking you to be right. But the Colts are going to turn back into pumpkins. They were a mid defense last year. Wasn't terrible, wasn't great. And they were a below mid offense, but I think they have a better quarterback. I think Daniel Jones is just objectively better. I'm not saying Anthony Richardson's done. He's only like 23. So, and again, given how all these quarterbacks turn themselves around 3 or 4 years after they get started and 3 or 4 franchises in, and they finally it clicks. Between the game clicking in their head and them being put in the right position, things click. And this is what I think is happening with Daniel Jones, and I think they will win. They will be 10-7. I think they'll be 10-7. He did have Saquon at NYC. That's true, but they did not have a good offensive line, either of them, because that Giants offensive line, going back to that, I don't think that Giants offensive line was as good as this Colts offensive line. And damn sure ain't good as the Eagles one that Saquon is enjoying right now. So, yeah, he did have Saquon, and then but you know what? In saying that, he also won a playoff game in NYC, and people forget that. So it's not like he totally had no success in New York. He won a playoff game. So I think Daniel Jones he's not this all-time world beater, but he's one of those. He's similar to like an Alex Smith. Like if you put enough solid pieces around him, he'll be productive enough for you to win games. He's not the greatest, but he's not the worst either. But if he's in a shitty situation, he'll look shitty. If you don't put enough pieces, he's not like there's some guys who can elevate their teams. He's not one of those guys. But there are other guys that can be elevated by their teams. He is one of those guys. So, and that's what I think the difference is. The team around him is better, so he can be elevated to be a little bit more and to be a potential playoff quarterback. We'll see. We'll see. Daniel Jones will become Daniel Jones again. He could. He definitely could turn into a pumpkin. Would not shock me. Nothing shocks me in the fucking NFL. So where were we? Yeah, Browns, Ravens. There's nothing to talk about. Ravens are way better. Colts doesn't really talk. We already talked about that. Cardinals, Panthers, Cardinals. I think the Cardinals. The team I think is more like that is the fucking Cardinals. They just keep beating up on nothing teams. They're 2-0. Who did they beat last week? Can we go back to last week? Yeah, week 1. Cardinals beat. Oh, geez, did I miss it? Yeah, they beat the Saints. So they're just beating up on they're eating up on the NFC South. They beat the Saints last week. They beat the Panthers this week. Like, I don't know if they're good. You know what I'm saying? And they almost lost to the Panthers. They gave them 13 points in the fourth quarter. Panthers could have came back. Like, I don't believe this team is that great, but they're 2-0. Kyler Murray, 220 yards, 1 pick, 1 touchdown. He did okay as a rusher. James Conner, he's the guy fucking started over Jonathan Taylor like a fucking dumbass, thinking, oh, the Panthers have a shitty defense. He should fucking eat. They gave the ball to this fucker 11 times. Fuck you guys. Chuba Hubbard doing not much of it, a damn thing as a rusher, or really a pass catcher, except catching a touchdown. Hunter Renfrow back from the dead with 2 touchdowns. But yeah, I think the team you're thinking about is the Cardinals. The Cardinals are the team that's 2-0. You're like, wait a second, you guys aren't really 2-0. You just beat up on 2 shitty teams. And you almost lost. You could have lost both games, but you just, you're good enough to keep off these shitty teams. But I don't think much of the Cardinals. I'm not impressed with the Cardinals. Eagles and Chiefs. I am impressed with the Eagles. I think overall, I said if you had a power ranking, I would rank Green Bay number 1. That was a lie. Now that I think about it, I would rank Eagles number 1, Green Bay number 2. The Eagles were able to beat the Chiefs again. I still have a high regard for the Chiefs, though they're 0-2. They'll still make the playoffs. Don't get too confused about that. But yeah, man, the Eagles are still that team. You can say, well, they don't have much of the box score. Jalen Hurts, barely 100 yards passing. Not even that great of a rushing game. He didn't get a touchdown. But again, a lot of that tush pushery that everybody hates. It says only 1.7 yard average, but if that's a 1 yard, all you need is 1.7 is enough to get you the first down. Saquon had a solid game, 22 carries, 88 yards, a touchdown. Devontae Smith had a solid game. A.J. Brown had maybe less than solid. But they got a good defense. They held Patrick Mahomes to, he only had a pick and a touchdown, 187 yards. They didn't do anything rushing. So, I think they're still the kings of the castle right now in the NFL, the Philadelphia Eagles. And they've yet to be knocked off. Now, they're not going to go 17-0. I see Gridiron Heights. I've not seen Gridiron Heights. I am not familiar with Gridiron Heights. Sorry, man. Sorry. I should probably put this in front of me so I can see it. And it looks like I'm looking at the camera. Oops, but then if I do that, you guys won't see this. That's all right. Let's hold on. Let's change this in OBS settings. Display capture. Let me hold on a second. Damn it, how do I do this? Sorry. I don't know how to do this. I don't know how to do this. Display. Okay, I don't know how to do it, unfortunately. I was going to try to. I'm fucking everything up. Let me just get back to basics. Ooh, okay. Let's just get back to basics and pick these games for this week. How about that? And then we can end this fucking stream. I'll try to get through the whole season. This ain't gonna be the ratings getter. I'll try to get through this whole season. If I can get it under an hour and a half, I'll live with it. So Buffalo's gonna beat Miami. I think that's pretty obvious. I mean, this is gonna be a blowout. Probably. Maybe they sit there. It'll go 25-14. I think Atlanta should beat the Panthers. We'll go 30-24, maybe. Can see the Panthers keeping it somewhat close. Green Bay will steam over the Cleveland Steamers. We'll go 31-10. Houston has to beat Jacksonville Jaguars. This is one of your first absolutely must-win games of the season. I'll keep 27-17. You know what? I can see Jacksonville, because of just how Houston's been playing, being closer. So let's go 20. Oops, not 35. I want to go 24-17. But this is one of your first absolute must-win games of the season. Of any team, Houston has to win this game, or else their season's over. It's over. If they lose to Jacksonville, it is over. Pew! It's over. It's all over. So they have to win. Backup versus backup. I'm going Minnesota. They're at home. They have the better team around them. Though this might be a crazy game. I'm going 21-14. They both have backups, Cincinnati and Minnesota. I think Minnesota's the better team without their quarterback. So I'm going to go with them winning. Pittsburgh and New England both kind of need this game. I'm picking Pittsburgh. I don't know if one of you guys said it or saw it somewhere. Pittsburgh wins this game, they're average. If they lose this game, they are terrible. And I think that's kind of where they are. Still to be probably close. We'll go 27-21. So Rams and Eagles. This is going to be interesting. Rams was a team that played them tough in the playoffs. The one team that really did play them tough. Eagles are at home. I'm not going to keep picking against the Eagles. I'm going to go with the Eagles. In a tough game, maybe not a lot of points scored. We'll go 24. We'll go 24-21. Eagles in a close game. Tampa Bay will beat the Jets, especially if my man doesn't play Justin Fields. Go 21-14. Tampa Bay might put on some more pain than that. 24-14. These scores are always going to be conservative because I don't fucking know. I don't know. I'm picking my Colts to keep the train going. 3-0. 3-0. Maybe a close game because they are on the road against Tennessee. How about 24-17? No, I care more about the picks than the scores. Scores, I'm just tossing shit out there. Just tossing shit out there. So we're in the second half of these games. Let me just check to see if anybody's saying anything. What the fuck happened to the powers of the Swifties? The powers of the Swifties, I would say, has she been at any of these games? Bud Moose is cheering the teams that mentioned Charlie's name, one of which is the Cowboys. All right. I was actually surprised at that the teams mentioned that. But I think that's part of it. I was just about to say, she finally got engaged. So that was the end of it. They don't care anymore. It was now that she's finally engaged, they don't care anymore. I think that is it. Or are they married or engaged? Don't remember. And you said you could call Philadelphia lose. I can see Philadelphia losing this game against the Rams. I'm picking Philly because I hate picking against them, but I could definitely see the Rams coming in there and ruining the party. It would not shock me. That's why I still got it as a close game. Still got it as a close game. Let's see. Las Vegas and Washington. I'm going to pick Washington because they're the better team. I know Vegas, Geno Smith still throws too many picks. We'll go 17. I think this might even be a kind of a blowout. I got Vegas to be an improved team, but they're still going to lose against teams like Washington. So we'll go 31-17. I was surprised that different teams acknowledge Charlie Kirk. I've been a little bit surprised on the reaction because, one, I knew of him, but I didn't know who he was really like that. That was me being honest. It is, out of the whole situation, the people I feel for most are him and his family. Because just talking on the internet causing that reaction. But there's a lot of flaws in the reaction to it, which I'm not getting into. I'm not going to get into in this stream. Not getting into it in the next stream because this is no longer a politics channel. Chargers should beat the Broncos, but Broncos kind of need this. The Chargers aren't perfect, and the Broncos are still a good team. So I'm going Broncos to upset the Chargers on the road. He'll go 28. You know what? No, some score could take off. Go 31-28. I got the Broncos. As far as Seattle should beat the Saints, though I keep saying, man, the Saints play decently. They're not going to lose every game all the time. Oh, man. That's why I appreciate you not buying everything out. Bringing it up. I mean, it's just, if you guys want to talk politics, there are better channels than me. No disrespect. I'm not, I can't not see the brainwashing stems from it. I just can't. And so I'll just ruin you guys' time. I told you it was going to happen since she's not the first chick. Yeah, you're right. It's not the first time this happened too. These girls just like the story. They don't really want to see these women get married because they don't really want to see nobody be married and happy. Like in the Scorpion King. Psychic, yeah, now it clicks. You said that. The psychic chick loses their powers. Yeah. That is kind of what this is. Oh man, I appreciate that. I'm not, for being rude, being respectful, I feel like, oh man, what a day. Out of respect for you and your channel, I follow the rule. Look at this. For being rude, being fucking respectful. I'm not used to this. I appreciate it though. Cause some of it's fear, man. Like, I'm not lying. That's where I feel the most, and that's what to have an aside, Foulball was on my channel. He was in the chat and he said, hey, this guy's just a motherfucker that talks on the internet. That's what the fuck we do. And they killed them. We've said way worse shit than Charlie Kirk. Both of us have. Like back to back. Way worse shit. My hat falls off. My weed falls off. Way worse shit than him. About all sorts of shit. Way worse shit than this guy. And our heads are still on. So we're like, shit, is that what popularity looks like? Your life at risk? That's fucking crazy. That's fucking nuts. So it is scary as a content creator. I ain't gonna lie. She should come out and call her fake fans out. She ain't gonna do that. She need that check. Swifties list her power of the ring. Yeah, too much going on. That's another thing. You just gotta decompress from this shit, man. Cause I haven't even been glued into this shit like some of y'all may have been, not necessarily you, but I could just see, man, if you've been glued into this shit, you probably emotionally fucked up right now. So you gotta just, we doing this. I'm gonna take a little break, come back, play some Tekken. I got a few more teams to pick on. We'll see if we go 11-5 again this week. I would not. Oh, by the way, do not bet For fuck's sake, don't bet. They got all this shit now. Now in Texas, you can bet. They got loopholes to allow you to bet. Don't bet. Please don't gamble on these fucking teams. This shit is fake. The fucking let me get on big screen. I'm having fun. I like the NFL. It's fucking fake. Do not gamble on this shit. Do not put your hard on money. I would suggest to try to pirate it as long as you can. I got sick of trying to pirate it. I had to just watch the official Red Zone. It's only $15 a month. I pay for 4 months, and then that's it. So that's what I cracked. I know you should hate me. You should say you're a piece of shit. I'm sorry. Speaking of piece of shit, we got more teams to talk about. But do not gamble on this shit. This is escapism. We just trying to escape the bullshit of the day and make it through the day because we got to live our fucking lives. No matter what the fuck happens, we still have to live our lives. No matter what the fuck happened, nobody's going to say, oh, man, you upset about this? Well, you know what? Don't even worry about your water bill. Don't even worry about your electricity bill. Nobody's saying that. My internet got fucked up. They're not even going to give me a credit on the bill. I probably could ask. Sometimes they'll give you that like $1.50 credit. It's not worth it to ask for. If it was a couple days, I would ask for it. But just one, it was like 12 hours it was out. But still, that's what I'm saying, man. Life is going to go on no matter what. It's harsh, but it's real. So going back to this team, Seattle and New Orleans. I got to pick. I'm giving New Orleans a bone. Pause. They keep playing well in losses. Seattle's not all that. I know they have that, and Seattle is weird at home. They lost most of their home games last year. So I'm going New Orleans, 21-17. Dallas versus Chicago. Chicago has to win this game. I talked about must-wins. It's your second must-win. Chicago has to win or heads will roll. Dallas ain't all that. So we're going 2 upsets back-to-back. In New Orleans and Chicago to add some spice to it. And as much as I just talked shit about Arizona, and I did just talk shit about them, and I also said something about Mac Jones. You know what? Fuck it. San Fran is going to keep this train going. Somebody's got to lead the NFC West. It's between San Fran and Arizona right now. I believe in Mac Jones. Why not? And I'll keep 24, maybe 21. It'll probably be a close, maybe 24-23. Super close game. But I believe in San Fran right now. And then KC and the Giants. I'm sorry, guys. This may not be a slaughter, but it'll be a definitive win. We'll go 27-21. Sorry, Giants. Sorry, G-Man. Whoo-wee. Okay. Last game I'm picking is, of course, my game. Detroit and Baltimore. Both teams 1-1. Baltimore has a history of putting a lot of points on our head as far as Detroit. Both teams are Super Bowl teams that need this win. It's in Baltimore. I'm going to be honest. If I was from Memphis, Tennessee, I would probably pick the Baltimore Ravens to win. This is going to be a shootout either way because Baltimore has not shown that they're that good of a defense. And Detroit just scored 52 points. I was born in Detroit, Michigan, though. So I'm picking Detroit 31-28 on the road. But if I was born in Memphis, Tennessee, I will reverse these scores. There will be a lot of scoring, though. So I don't know what Vegas has as their over. Again, I wouldn't gamble. But if you were to, I would think over for yards and points this game. But then again, if too many people bet the over, it'll be a fucking defensive classic because that's what Vegas does. So that's why you don't fucking gamble. Because it is a scam. So if everybody bets the over, this will be fucking, a one-score game, 10 points to 3 or some shit. Because that's how Vegas works. That's how the NFL works. I didn't mean to do that. I forgot. I'm on fucking camera. It's me. It's me with the mic and everything. So that's the NFL. Hopefully, if you are down about the news, I'm not, like I said, I was not big on Charlie Kirk. Don't get too caught up in the divisiveness of it. That's what I would tell you. The spot I came in lurking on Matt's, I'm like, oof. I would not, and I said my piece is just kind of left. I would not get caught up in the divisiveness elements of this, man, because a lot of focus, it's to an extent rightfully so, is about the people who are making fun of this, and that is scum of the earth shit. I mean, making fun of death is weird, man. It's scum. But that's not everybody, right? I saw a lot of people like, oh man, I didn't agree with him, but no one deserves this. I saw a lot of that. I saw, hey, a fair amount of, I wasn't familiar with him. Who is he? What's this significance? Those people exist too, right? It isn't everybody who's just, because that everybody's against us shit is played out, man. The only people who exist are us and people who made fun of his death. That's not true. The people who made fun of his death are a small, not insignificant, but they do not represent everyone else in this thing. And again, man, the right versus left isn't work. So I'm sure I'll have more sides about it while I play Tekken. Give me a couple hours and I'll put up a Tekken stream. I got to finish writing a verse and then I got to finish editing a video. So we'll try to get that shit done in between. But I love talking to you guys. I love streaming. That's why I'm trying to do it more, man. It really, with this new schedule and not streaming like I want to, it feels fucking weird, bro. So that's why I'm trying to, I'll stream from my fucking bed if I have to, just to get streams up. Cause I'm the weirdo with the parasocial fucking connection, man. I like talking to you motherfuckers. I like seeing what you guys' opinion. Oh man, Jana Banana, you're here to start over. Do college next? Oh man. I couldn't do college. College is fucking wacky. College is fucking wacky as shit. Arch Manning? Holy shit. That guy, I don't know, man. You ever forgive Bones in New Orleans? No. You said from Brightmoor. DC Online is still talking about it. You know, I mean, it's been about a week, so people are still talking. Do college next? I'm not an expert in the fucking NFL. I will really fuck up college. I will fuck college up something crazy. So, hey, hit the replays. Only an hour stream. I'm glad we got it down to an hour. Hopefully, we can do this for all the future ones because you can just talk all damn day about the damn NFL. So, check. If you want to know what I think about a game that happened or a game that's going to happen, go ahead and replay the hour. Only the last 15 minutes or so were about the upcoming games. I kind of did that a little quicker. But yeah, and if I was smart, I would put timestamps, but I don't think that many people are going to rewatch. In any event, I appreciate you being here when you got here, Jana. Appreciate anybody watching this live or on the playback. If you prove me wrong and do rewatch. I love you all. Hope you all love yourselves. If you like the video, please like the video. If you're so obliged, you share and subscribe. Please do that. And even if you do none of these things, thank you for watching. Thank you for your time. Good night. God bless. I'll talk to all you guys later. Peace.